Thank you guys for joining me today. George Reister here. You're watching Unafraid. We got a couple great things up for you today. And of course, again, it will be the greatest Unafraid show that you have ever seen. So make sure you like the feed, share the feed with your friends, send it out, tweet it, Facebook it, whatever it is, YouTube it, comment, all this stuff. You are part of this conversation. You might wonder, why am I wearing my own jersey today? Why am I wearing my own jersey? It's a simple answer. My kid asked me to wear it today. Yep, it's that simple. No more to it. Not because the Jaguars are winning, not because of any of that, because my kid asked me to wear it. That's why I'm wearing the jersey. What we have on track for you guys today on Unafraid is LiAngelo Ball. It's amongst 3 UCLA players who got arrested in China. They're over there to play Georgia Tech. I know that you've probably heard about this already, but of course, I got to bring it from a whole different angle. Ric Flair, his 30 for 30 was on last night. And my takeaways from that, aside from the fact that he slept with 10,000 women, that's half of what Wilt Chamberlain said he did, but there are more takeaways from that, bigger than that. And also, but first up, the election results from last night. I know you guys are like me. The election results last night were like incredible, but my takeaway from it was that, number one, that obviously all that pushback that Republicans were saying, that middle America was pushing back with the election of Trump and all this stuff, now apparently everybody else is pushing back. And the part that I found disturbing about the election, not necessarily election results, but the part I found disturbing was what I saw on my timeline on Facebook, Twitter, and everything else. Was I saw so many people saying, oh, everybody should have voted red tonight. Everybody should have voted blue tonight. And I just thought that was crazy, right? Because no matter what political party that you are a part of, right? Like, let's just really think about this as a big picture human being way, right? Why on earth would you ever vote along party lines? Like, it's craziness to me. It's like elementary at best. It shows no independent thought. Like, why should anybody have voted all blue? Why should anybody vote all red? Why left, right, Republican, Democrat? It doesn't make sense, because all red candidates, all blue candidates are not good people. They're not the best candidate. So why wouldn't you vote for the best person? I mean, it shows where we have gone at times in this country right now. We get to these polar opposites, right? Either you're way left, you're way right, you're way Democrat, you're way Republican, right? But in reality, everybody grew up with different experiences. So aren't you supposed to be on both sides of the aisle on some issues? So why on earth wouldn't you vote like that? That's that groupthink mentality. Like, at what point in time are we going to say, you know what? I'm going to be an individual. I'm going to think all by myself, not what mommy and daddy told me to do, not what my wife told me to do, not what my husband told me to do, but just have some independent thoughts. It is okay. It is okay to vote for somebody else besides who you're registered to vote for. It'll actually do some good out in the world. It will. And I thought it interesting, right? In addition to all that, so we had somebody who's Sikh. We saw black people get elected. We saw transgender get elected. And I just thought it interesting that people were celebrating that all these Democrats won, instead of just celebrating that the best people won. I mean, because how am I supposed to know if the person who got voted in, the governor of New Jersey, or the person that was elected in Virginia, is the best person? I mean, like, we can't be caught on these stumbling blocks of blue and red and just find out, do a little research on who the best candidates are. Because I don't know who got voted for in New Jersey. So how am I supposed to be happy? Just because they're a Democrat? Or in Utah, just because they're a Republican? No, absolutely not. Somebody just said the last election showed that it's all about money. You should never have been our choices. I've been on public record as saying that I was not a Hillary supporter and I was not a Trump supporter. I wish I was playing Scrabble. You know, when you play Scrabble, if you don't like your tiles, you can dump them back in the tile bag and shake them up and then get new tiles. That's what I wanted. But Alas, I did not get that. Next thing up, though. It's everybody versus everybody in this country right now. Instead of just saying, wow, all right. So let's say, and also I've noticed too, as I've gotten older, that people vote along one issue, right? So if they vote along whatever issue is most important to them, if taxes are most important to you, then you may vote for Trump. If you're pro-choice, you may vote for somebody else. You're pro-life. I mean, do we only vote along one issue, or should we take the totality of the candidate? I mean, what really matters to you the most? But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just an independent thinker, because under no circumstances can I be persuaded or dissuaded in voting for a candidate because they are Republican or Democrat or independent. There's no way to dissuade me from that. Because I realize that just because that person supposedly is in line with some of the views of whatever party, that doesn't mean that they are going to continuously do the right things. I mean, am I preaching to myself right here? I just don't understand it. The next thing up, I'm frustrated as hell right now, because I'll tell you this iPhone situation. This iPhone X just came out. iPhone 8 just came out. And I am pissed off because the last few nights I've been trying to charge my phone. I was looking at the election stuff, looking at all this. My iPhone is not working the same as it was. And I didn't believe the conspiracy theorists at first, talking about that the iPhone starts working incorrectly when a new one comes out, because I was usually an early adopter, first person to get the new phone. But this time I didn't, and my phone is not working. Conspiracy. I'm waiting on the class action lawsuit. Sign me up right now, buddy. But to go back to the and then somebody just said, it sounds like you were feeling the burn too. Nope, I wasn't feeling the burn either. Not at all. Next thing up, though, UCLA's basketball team is over in China, right? They're over in China playing Georgia Tech in a basketball game. It's kind of like a trip for the kids / China is the NBA's second biggest market. UCLA is growing its brand. So is Georgia Tech. All these things, right? So there's a lot of economic elements involved in this, right? They go over there. LiAngelo Ball, this kid named Cody, who went to Sierra Canyon out here in the San Fernando Valley, and some other kid from out here in California. They go into a Louis Vuitton store, and something allegedly comes up missing, and they get arrested. And mind you, you're in China, right? You're in China getting arrested. I know these kids are only 18, 19 years old, but have you never watched Locked Up Abroad? I mean, have you never watched it? I mean, Locked Up Abroad, there's nowhere, I would rather be in jail in the United States than anywhere else on earth, except for some of those European countries that let you out on the weekends, which I don't even understand. But I mean, they're literal like hellholes. They're hellholes. So why on earth would you think that it would be a good idea to commit a crime outside of the country? Commit a crime, period, especially. I know we don't know all the details yet. And the first thing you think of, why the hell is LiAngelo Ball stealing anything if he was the one who stole it? Or if he was just with people who stole something. My dad said something to me earlier today, which I remember him saying to me when I was a kid. He was like, you hang out with bad people when they're doing bad things, you will get caught up in the fray and the mess. So I don't know what LiAngelo did, what his part of it is, but however, the kid's in hot water. And his dad is saying, it's not that big of a deal. Hell if it's not. Because I started looking up what goes on in China and how their legal system works. And I will tell you this, it is nothing to play with, because these kids are out on bail now. But ordinarily in China, it takes in between 30 and 37 days for you to go to trial, for you to get out of jail or any of this. So these kids are lucky to be back at the hotel already anyway. And the fact that these kids may get stuck in China for some period of time, it's phenomenal to me. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, I don't believe that his dad realizes that how big of a deal that this is. Because China, I would totally agree, China does not play about crime at all. And here's an interesting note about this, right? Guess who's going to be in China next week? Donald Trump. Donald Trump's going to be in China next week. It literally may take Donald Trump going over to China and reconciling some deal to get these kids out of trouble and get them out of this. Because here's the thing and also the thing I know about Donald Trump is that if he helps LeVar Ball get his son out of trouble, it's going to cost something. Like, there's nothing in life that's for free. Nothing in life that's for free. So if you were a Donald Trump fan, if you were anti-Donald Trump, and your son gets in trouble, he helps get your kid out. Question is, are you now publicly pro-Trump? Are you doing it? Are you doing it? I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, if you are, let's say somebody who I've known for a long time, Jamil Hill, right? If you're Jamil Hill, who Trump has publicly come against, but then he helps you get out of trouble, are you selling out a little bit for that? I don't know. That's tough, right? Because you don't want your kid to be locked up in a Chinese prison for 3 to 10 years. That's the question. I don't know. Yeah, and somebody asked about the jersey that I have on. I have my own jersey on because my kid asked me to wear my jersey today. So guess what? Gonna show it to him. He's gonna be happy. I just found this interesting because if you're LeVar Ball, what do you do? Because he's over there in China right now, and his son may not be leaving China. So if you're UCLA, you're probably super pissed off about this because it makes the school look bad. It also is going to cost you a ton of money because you have to pay for this kid's legal defense as the school, or at least some portion of it. So that's the first thing. The second thing that is like upsetting if you're UCLA about this whole situation is that now somebody has to stay in China with these kids. Somebody's got to stay in China. And who's that going to be? Assistant athletic director. They got to fly back and forth. This is going to cost a pretty penny, buddy, off of a trip that was supposed to be fun and games. And I'll tell you guys a story, right? Story time, because I love telling stories. I remember my freshman year. You guys can swipe up, share the feed, like the feed right now. I'm getting ready to tell an awesome story. I went to my freshman year at Oregon. We played in the Sun Bowl. The Sun Bowl is in El Paso, Texas, right? El Paso's right by the water. Right by the border. And it borders the Mexico city of Juarez. So Juarez and El Paso are right next to each other. And I'll tell you this. Anybody who knows anything about Juarez knows that Juarez is not a nice place. However, this is 1999 and they took us there anyway. And so we go down to Juarez. We go see a bullfight, a matador fight, and all this. And they take us to this like shopping center, right? The shopping center, so we can buy some souvenirs, gifts, take them back to the family, take them back for ourselves, whatever, right? And they tell us, do not leave this shopping center. Don't leave with anybody. Don't go do anything. Don't steal. Don't do anything. You will get jammed up. Do not do it. And so we're there. And mind you, I'm a freshman. And so I'm hanging out mainly with some of these other freshmen. And we're walking around shopping. And some of the guys, they come to me. They're like, hey, yo, G, there's this dude over here that says that he has some girls. And if we leave with him, he'll take us to go hang out with some of these Mexican chicks. And, and we're going to see if we can get it popping. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And then they were like, yo, he's going to go get the car. He's going to bring it around. I'm like, what kind of sense does this make? They just told you guys don't leave, that this is not necessarily the safest place. Why on earth would you leave? And I know I'm a freshman, but I have better sense than this. So I tell them, and then the guy pulls up with the van. It is like classic, like kidnapper van. I mean, this is one of them white vans with no windows and just a sliding door. And they're going to take you to some damn girls. How on earth does this make sense? I mean, this is me as a freshman at the Sun Bowl. They took us to Juarez, and these idiots are trying to leave to go get some chicks trying to get laid in Juarez, Mexico. And I couldn't understand it. I'm like, why on earth did you think that this was a great idea? And I'm telling you that this is what happened to these kids in China. One of them was like, oh, yeah, I got a bright idea. I'm going to steal these sunglasses out of the Louis Vuitton store. Man, that is idiotic. And I would bet that all three of them weren't in on it. But it's phenomenal. It was like insanely stupid. That was story time for the day. Next thing up, though, is Ric Flair's 30 for 30. I watched Ric Flair's 30 for 30 last night, and I had two takeaways from the 30 for 30. Mind you, Ric Flair is, I mean, like, he actually, like, lived who he was, right? He lived his character. Like, he bought into the gimmick. I mean, and it reminded me of Tropic Thunder, the movie which I love. And you have Iron Man saying, I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. I know who I am. So, like that quote, right? And he also said about acting, he was like, nobody goes full retard. You can't go full retard. You'll never come back. And that's what Ric Flair did. Like, he went too far into the character. Went way too far into the character. And the first takeaway I felt was is that the difference, I was astounded by the difference in what his family said about him and what people at work in terms of wrestling said about Ric Flair. People at wrestling people said he was giving, that he was helpful. He was the guy to give you a shirt off his back. He helped everybody achieve their dreams in their career, and he didn't have an ego in winning and losing. He just wanted to entertain and be great, right? He didn't have that same thing with his family. He abandoned his family, abandoned his kids, was a terrible parent. Like Triple H even talked about how his son got into wrestling, was failing drug tests, and he basically didn't care or ignored it. Was partying with his son. His son OD'd. Like, you led to this. So, like, it's phenomenal to me, like, the difference between, like, somebody's work family and their actual family, because he had no balance. So that was the first takeaway. And the second takeaway was it had to do more with LeBron James, right? Because in Colin Cowherd's book, he talked about that there's no balance for greatness, right? That there's no balance for greatness. If you want to be great at anything, you have to have a maniacal attitude at it, and that you can't have balance in your life. Like, you just can't. Talked about Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Ric Flair, Ozzy Osbourne, like, and all these people in life, how they don't have balance, but they're great at what they do. They're phenomenal. They're the best ever at what they do, right? But that they don't have balance. Tiger Woods didn't have balance in his life. But the people who actually have balance in their life, they may be successful, but they can't be the greatest. And that's what I believe that LeBron James is suffering from. Because while LeBron James is great, right, at basketball, one of the best basketball players of all time, what is his biggest knock? Oh, he can't win as much as that. Because he's got too big of a heart. He actually cares about people more than he cares about basketball. He actually, like, loves his family probably more than he loves basketball. And that's why, so I always applaud LeBron for being the greatest athlete of all time in terms of when you look at the totality of his career. He's still playing, but his teammates regard him as a great person. He works hard. He's diligent. appears to love his wife, his family, all these things, does great things out in the community, sent over 1,100 kids to college already. I mean, this kid is phenomenal. And no, I'm not saying that you have to be a jerk in order to be great. However, in order to be the absolute best at something, whether it's business or sports, I do agree with what Colin Cowherd said, that you can't have balance. Like, if you want to be the absolute best, I mean, look at Steve Jobs. Not exactly the shining example of balance and a nice human being at all times either, because he was a maniac about what he was doing. That's just the truth. And that's why I love LeBron James. I don't love him as my favorite basketball player of all time. However, he is the greatest athlete of all time and a model of how you should handle things. Between him and what you've seen Steph Curry come into, that whole notion of good guys finish last, nope. Good guys finish first, and good guys are happy when they get old. That's the truth. Good guys are happy when they get old. Yeah, it's fun to sleep with 10,000 women probably at the time. Go drinking and smoking every single night. Yeah, but when you get old and you're lonely, because think about this. Chris Rock said in one of his comedy specials, he said you have two choices in life as a man. He said you have commitment and you got new coochie. Basically. He said you got commitment and you got new coochie. He said commitment, it'll give you a headache at times, and new coochie always clears the mind. All right. But new coochie ain't going to teach your kids how to read. It's not going to take care of you when your back is out. It's not going to take care of you when you're sick, when you're old, when you're lonely, when you're tired, when nobody else is around, when the people only want to be around for the money and what you can do for them. Right? And I just noticed, like, this man, Ric Flair, was a tortured soul. Somebody just asked about Jesse Owens. So Jesse Owens initially, right? Like, if you watch the Jesse Owens movie and you know about Jesse Owens, he got a little maniac and got caught up in being Jesse Owens for a little bit too. That's just the truth, man. Like, it is extremely, like Kanye said it best, it is hard to be humble when you're stunting on the Jumbotron. It's hard to be humble. I mean, and when we look at some of the people that we look at as being successful, right? Some of the people that we look at as being extremely successful in life, what do we think about them, right? We look at Ric Flair. Oh my God, he had the women, had the cars, had all this. That's who we wanted to be, right? There is Michael Jackson. Everybody wanted to be Michael Jackson, wanted to touch Michael Jackson, wanted to be Michael Jackson. But these people at times are tortured souls. Tortured souls. I mean, women, sex, drugs, drinking. This is what Ric Flair was doing. And then that got me to thinking on a whole different level, right? About my favorite wrestler of all time. And then I wanted to know there's a conspiracy theory. Michael Jackson had to die to get out of debt. I mean, hey, that's a conspiracy theory if I've heard one before.
Any person.
Yeah. I understand that Michael Jackson makes more than any person living or dead. In terms of that he makes more money dead. However, I'm not buying that he died on purpose. I'm just not. He was a tortured soul, and we have to teach our kids to love and pay attention to the people that actually matter most in life, the people who are doing the right things. I mean, because it's easy to point to the River Phoenixes, the Heath Ledgers, the Ric Flairs, the Hulk Hogans, all these people out in the world. But, like, when did it not be cool to be like a happy old person? Because one thing that I learned as I continuously to every day that I get older is you need to take care that 36-year-old George Reister. I got to take care of 46-year-old George Reister right now. Because if I don't take care of 46-year-old George Reister, yes, there are some things that are fun to do right now, and I could go have a ball. But Guess what? Nobody wants to be the happy old the old lonely broke man. Don't be that guy. Don't be the old lonely broke man. The old man in the club. That's not a good look. Sounds fun now. Sounds fun knocking everything down that can walk and look. Not a good look though. You guys do not forget about the Unafraid Show at gmail.com. That is the email for the Unafraid anonymous emails. It will be out first thing in the morning. Make sure you go to unafraidshow.com to go check it out. It will be there. And send in any of your questions, comments about anything, life, love, relationships, whatever it is. I will never reveal the name. We have a couple great ones already for this week. Please make sure you check that out and like the feed, share the feed, and most important, follow. If you're watching on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, whatever the hell you're watching on, make sure that you follow. All right, you guys, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.